everyone. I hope you're all staying safe and well at home. I know there's been a lot of confusing advice around at the moment regarding masks and whether you should or shouldn't wear them. So I've been listening a lot and doing a lot of work with people at the British Fashion Council, designers like Phoebe English, who's also doing incredible things as usual. And I wanted to put together a tutorial for how you can make your own mask at home using really simple materials and to just offer that protection to people around you when you're going out and about, if you have to do food shopping or exercise or whatever. Wearing masks is mainly to prevent you spreading any illnesses you have to other people. So it's not necessarily to protect you, it's to protect others. Some things to keep in mind is that a mask's life is about 4 hours before you would need to either wash it or replace it. And the masks can have filters which are kind of put inside them. That needs to be made from something which is non-woven. So, things you can use in your house as the filter for the middle of the mask are kitchen roll, paper kitchen roll. You can use a piece of that to go inside. Or you can use Hoover bags, but I appreciate not everybody has them anymore. So, let's get started. So, things you're going to need. Thread. You're going to need a needle to sew with. You're going to need something to measure with. So you can use a ruler or tape measure, whatever you've got handy. You're going to need some scissors. You're going to need a piece of wire. I've taken this one from an old mask that I have, which is no longer functioning very well. You can also use the twisty ties on coffee bags or reusable food bags. Sewing pins are helpful but not essential. If you're a bit of a crease freak like me, you're going to need an iron or a mini steamer, which I've got here because my iron is locked in my studio. And finally, you're going to need some fabric to make the outer of the mask with. So I'm using an old bedsheet. This is good if it's a fitted bedsheet because you can take the elastic out of the edge and use that for the straps of the mask. And then finally, you're going to need a pen or a pencil to just make some markings on your fabric. What you're going to want to do is to wash your fabric at a very high temperature to avoid any bacteria that's already in it. So I'm going to just take my bedsheet, put it in the washing machine here. To finish, you can use that time to do a little workout, a little meditation, a little time for yourself, a little food. Use that hour whilst that washing machine's on to treat yourself. Before you start, everything that you use should be as clean as possible. So get your hand sanitizer, but just be mindful that the point of this is to protect others. So to start with, you're going to want to cut a piece of your boiled bedsheet. You can also use a kitchen towel or an old shirt or something if you don't want to cut up your bedsheets. I happen to have an old spare one, so I'm using that. But you can use lots of other things as well. You just need to be able to get a piece of fabric. And the measurements for that are going to need to be 20 centimetres here by 40 centimetres here. And that's because you're going to fold that in half to make your mask. So I've pre-cut my piece here. It's a bit creased, so I'm just going to use the mini steamer to steam it on a cushion because the ironing board is also at the studio. Steamer is on. Okay, so let's measure our fabric. So as I said earlier, you're going to want it to be 20 centimetres across the top. I'm going to put a little marker there. And you're going to want it to be 40 centimetres down the side. This probably won't work. So that will form the basis of your mask. So we're going to need to insert pleats to the mask to make it functional. These are going to be measured 3 centimeters down from the top, and then you're going to do 1.5, 1.5, 1.5 gap. This can get confusing, so where I'm actually going to pleat, I've drawn a line, so I know that this part is not going to be pleated. You want to do that on both sides, and then we're ready to pleat. So this is where the pins can come in useful for the pleating. If you don't have them, that's okay. You can also use things like sellotape, or you could use a little object as a weight, like this. Luckily, I did bring some emergency pins home with me. So I'm going to move my first measurement, 1.5, 1.5, so that's a 3 centimeter pleat. I'm just going to move in there and put in a pin. Do the same below. This is where those markers of where to pleat are very useful, because sometimes you can get a bit confused, especially when the fabric starts to get smaller. I'm not actually hemming this fabric as I'm trying to make this as quick as possible. If you want to, you can also add patterns to your mask. You can add Swarovski crystal, you can add embroidery, but obviously the main point here is that we're just protecting others from any potential spread of the virus that we might cause. So you're going to want to get your pinned mask, and you just want to stitch those pleats in place. So I've already threaded a needle. Okay, so now I've got my stitched mask here. I need to get some elastic. So I've cut off the edge of part of the bed sheet. For this one, what I'm going to do is cut quite close to the stitch line and have it still with the cotton. But you can make the decision on this one. You're going to want 2 pieces for each ear. So in the end, I decided to actually just take the fabric off. This is going to leave you with some of the stitch threads still in here. So I'm going to measure 17 centimeters. I think this is kind of like a general measurement for the elastics. My head's quite big, so this was working for me. If you've got a normal size head, maybe you want to do it slightly smaller. So I'm just going to cut those 2 pieces, and then we're ready to attach them to our mask. So I'm just going to take some pins again. I'm going to pin the top of the mask about 1 centimetre from the edge, both of the elastics. And then I tried this yesterday, and I found you just loop the elastic round like this so there's no twists. I found it was better to secure the bottom of the mask about 3 centimetres in, because it just gives you a slightly tighter fit on your neck, and that's just going to stop any germs that might be able to kind of travel in through the bottom of the mask. So once you've got it at this stage, you just want to stitch quite securely here, and here, because obviously there's some tension on these stitches when the mask is on. So you want to do about 5 stitches on each. So now we're going to want to put the metal piece in to the top of the mask. So here, you're just going to go in there, go ahead and find the middle, got it, and just slide in that metal piece. you're going to want to keep it in the middle of the mask here. You can measure this or you can do it by eye. If you're using a smaller piece of metal, then you are going to want to probably keep that quite central just to ensure that fits over your nose. I'm just going to pin it in place so I know where it is, and then I'm going to stitch. Okay, so to ensure that the metal doesn't slip, I'm going to do 2 stitches here at the edge, just to keep that nice and tight, so it doesn't go anywhere in the left or the right. And then I'm going to come in here just below, and I'm going to do some quite big running stitches across the top of the mask. This is again the quickest and easiest way to do this. If you want to do smaller stitches or you want to do flower shaped stitches, you can do any of that, but this is the quickest way to just get that piece of wire to stay at the top and to make sure you can get a nice snug fit around your nose. As you can see, that takes no time at all. I'm here at the other end already. I'm just going to do those smaller stitches now just to ensure it doesn't slip to the left or right. And then I'm going to do like we did before, make a loop, make a knot, make a loop, and make a knot. And then cutting it with the scissors again, not your teeth. Then we can take out those pins. Okay, so here we have the basis of our mask. Super simple, super quick. After you've finished making your mask, before you insert the filter and use it, you are going to actually want to put it back in the wash on 90. We now need to, I'm going to use a piece of kitchen paper. Toilet roll is too thin, so don't use that. You can also use a Hoover bag if you still have Hoover bags, which I actually do, funnily enough. So the reason why we've left the bottom of the mask open is because we want to be able to go inside and thread in our filter. So I'm going to fold the kitchen paper in half, and then I'm going to go ahead and just insert that in. This can be slightly fiddly. It's a bit like putting a cushion in its case. You just want to make sure that the corners are all in the corners, so you're getting good filter coverage across the whole of the mask. This filter is something that you should change each time you wear the mask. As I said before, they have about a 4-hour lifespan, and then you do actually need to wash it again or get another mask. So here we go, the filter's in. So I'm going to go ahead and put the mask on. I'm going to loop it around my ears. I've got quite big ears, so that's pretty easy for me. And then I'm going to shape around the nose the wire. And because you can see the pleats have pulled all down, it's tight around my neck, and it's offering me that protection to protect others when I go out of the house. Okay, so I hope you found that useful. I'd recommend that you make 2 masks for each person in your household or the people that you're making them for. This means that one can be washed whilst the other one's being worn. So again, 4 hours. Change the filter every time. Wash it after you've worn it at 90 degrees. I think you could also probably put it in a bowl and pour boiling water over it. I understand that washing at 90 degrees is a lot of energy, and unless you've got other bedding, I think it's a lot to be doing that daily. But we shouldn't be leaving the house daily unless we absolutely have to. So please do stay inside, stay safe. Look up the statistics on how beneficial it is to prevent the illness through staying inside. Find some amazing things to do in your house. Do some DIY, do some meditation, do some reading. There's lots of amazing opportunities here to reconnect and calm down, and I certainly am taking those chances whilst I've got them and enjoying it, and I'm feeling really happy about it. So please stay safe. If you have any questions, please just comment below. All the instructions are also going to be below. And please share this out. Let's try and get everyone making things to help people, and in the end, if we end up making enough, we can get those out to people, key workers, people that need masks, and then we can free up the surgical ones for the people that really need them on the front line. Just to be clear, there was a survey done by Cambridge University that suggests that these cotton masks that can be made at home are 50% effective. So we're not 100% safe with these, but 50% is a lot better than 0%. So please, if you are feeling unwell, do make one of these and just try to protect other people from getting any illnesses. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see what everyone comes up with. I'm sure yours will be a lot more interesting than mine. Bye everyone, stay safe.